Hi, I'm Richard Dean Anderson.
Name's MacGyver.
Colonel Jack O'Neill, SG-1.
My name is Pratt. Ernest Pratt.
I always get a happy, tingly feeling when I see those guys.
Name one contract that I failed to execute.
MacGyver.
Oh, here we go.
You're a target. And I don't intend to miss.
Over my rotting corpse. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Glowing eyes, cliche behavior, evilness, that kind of thing. Is mental illness contagious? You think? You can do anything you want to do if you put your mind. Well, you do have a penchant for pulling brilliant ideas out of your butt. Head. Out of your head when we need them.
Oh, stuff's already here. I just find a different way to use it.
I like your attitude.
Permission to take a team through Stargate, sir.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the MacGyver podcast. I'm your host, Mac Jackson.
And I'm Nathan Shell.
And we're doing another live one. So I don't know where I'm going to see people popping up with their questions, but
I've got the chat open, I believe. So
yeah. All right. I'm still learning this whole thing.
Oh, yep. I see the notifications of like we're live and all that fun stuff.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's good to know because I don't see any of it at the moment, but we are live. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everybody.
Yep. Today's what, the 7th? Something like that? Sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah, 7th. Very good. Okay, better than me. I don't even pay attention to the days. The actual
Well,
numbers.
they all tend to blur together sometimes. So, you know.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to see comments.
For my screen, it's on the right-hand side. There's a private chat and then a comment section.
Yep, I got comments. All right, so I don't see anything at the moment.
That's all right. They'll filter in, I'm sure.
No, I'm just making sure I'm not messed up because if somebody says something to us, I'd like to respond to them ASAP,
Promptly,
as they say. Okay, let's see. Also, let's think. What is new with you before we get going on our episode and discussions?
Well, I have gotten back into 3D printing, which I believe I've got. Come here. Nope, that's old prints. Give me one tick second.
Sure.
Oh, there they are. I reached over top of them to grab the old stuff. But yeah, I've been getting back into 3D printing.
Okay.
So
I didn't know you ever stopped.
yeah, I got sidetracked with just life in general. So here's a. Well, after I dropped them, this is one of the things that I 3D printed. This is another fellow that I printed.
Oh, nice.
Now, some of these have a little bit of cleanup to do, like on his back by the cape and the back of this guy's shield down towards the bottom. You can see the support nubs and stuff. And then I got this guy, which he's got a fair amount to clean up on his back.
Nice.
But the interesting thing is when I was cutting the supports for him, I actually nipped off his foot.
Yeah, well, that's,
Right.
Hey, we got somebody. TF
Hey.
Fodder.
Yeah.
Made it to this one. Nice.
Out of stock from the Discord server. Nice. Cool.
Yay.
So they found us through there. Awesome. But yeah, with the 3D printing these things, you got to be careful when you're pulling them apart. Otherwise, you got things that you've got to quick fix. And fortunately, I have a stock of super glue. So,
well, how long does it take to whip one of those up?
Well, on average, like if I was going to print just this guy here, it actually gets printed in two pieces: the base and then the actual figure. Like even the little battle axe is all part of the figure.
Sure.
That would have taken about, I think, 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think.
So you just set it up
But,
and walk away and wait for it
yeah,
to do thing?
Yeah, absolutely. But because of the type of printer that I'm using, it's a resin printer. I can print multiples on the same build plate because the time factor is it actually prints it upside down. So you've got your vat where it just starts to printing.
Yeah.
So the real factor is the overall height of what you're printing. Like if I was just printing a bunch of the bases, it would probably take me about an hour, maybe if that, But I printed 3 of them with their bases, and it took just over 4 hours. I think it was like 4 hours and 2 minutes or something like that. There's a little display on the front of it that gives me an expected time frame as to how long it's going to take. There's always a little bit of a buffer because it's actually factoring in actual print time, not like the time it takes to lower the little build plate or raise it completely up so that once it's done, you can reach in and pop it loose.
And you have to buy whatever that is. It solid, whatever you're carving.
No, it's actually liquid resin. It reacts to UV light, so I have to be very mindful of where I have my 3D printer. Like the light that's coming in, I've got a light in the center of the office here, but there's light coming in from the back side of the house. So I have not a blackout curtain there, but I have a pretty decent pull down shade. But the printer I actually have kind of wedged into the corner with something blocking the direct light, so I don't have to worry about things getting cured too early, because if it's cured while it's still like sopping wet and everything, it'll end up having like deformed shape. You won't have the details that you're looking for. Plus, it could actually harden the vat that it's pulling the resin out of, because it does something with like a light pulse. I haven't actually like experimented with like actually running it without the resin on it because I don't want to break the thing.
Right.
But eventually I'm going to get the FDM printer back up and running, which is, you can kind of see the little cubby hole that I have in over here. That I have to actually pull partially apart because I think some of the filament wire broke off in the tube. It's an easy enough thing to fix. I just got to pop 2 screws and run something through it to pop out the little debris is basically what it is. But because I signed up for a subscription thing where they send you a bunch of models each month. And one of the things that I want to build is this like 5-story tavern that you can use for miniatures and stuff like that. Because I think 1, it'd be fun to have, and 2, I have fallen deep into the insanity that is collecting things for D&D.
Well, I've fallen into the insanity that is the things that I'm now 49, and I never thought, the childlike part of us never goes away. But you still have to realize, all right, what is practical? That's the adult coming in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I saw a deal on a He-Man figure. Thing that always bothered me, and I know, by the way, we're going to get to MacGyver stuff. We're just
we always banter at first.
Yeah. So, and there's MacGyver Stargate news stuff. So,
absolutely.
Just hang on. But anyway, it always bothered me as a kid with my He-Man figures that they were squatty, and the joints never did this. You could do this, but the elbows didn't bend, the wrist didn't.
Yeah, they were not very articulate,
and they squatted
they were very
all the time. Like they were.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was watching.
Which made it great for like the Battle Cat figure, but
sure,
anything else is
anything else. Like I'd like him to stand up like a man. I don't need him looking like he's trying to poo all the time. And all of them were like that. So I watched a thing on YouTube. I Have the Power, I think it's called. It's a great documentary. Even if you weren't into He-Man, it really helps you appreciate the history of how that all came about. So I'm going through the phone, and you know how they send the ads, and whether you want them or not. And they had a deal on a standing up, one of the newer He-Man figures that actually looked cool, with all the joints that bend, and a sword that actually looked like his sword, and all of that. It was like $9. And this is something that could be more than 30. Oh, look, here we go. He-Man was more about the mass than the articulation. Yeah. Kind of the same with the Ninja Turtles. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Posed and with grimaces. Yeah. It's very limiting with what you can do with them. So it, like with any shows like Doctor Who or Greatest American Hero, you had to use a lot of your imagination just to get through it. So it always bothered me. I always thought if they ever came out with a good one, well, here it is, $9. So yeah, I had to get it. So I checked with Cindy, can I get this? She's like, yeah. Well, that sends me down a rabbit hole. You know what I've always wanted? the newer 6-inch, great articulation, great detail G.I. Joes.
Yes.
Now, I thought about it. Out of Transformers, He-Man, other than my superheroes, which I loved more than anything because I waited all my life for them until I was 10, then they started coming out. G.I. Joe was tops for me because you had so many guys that could do so many things and had so many weapons and so many vehicles and headquarters. So
the mountain of stuff that the G.I. Joe figures had is insane.
And unfortunately, all my figures, the O-rings dried up and broke.
Yep.
So
my buddy Ed specializes in O-ring surgery, as he calls it.
Yeah, well, you got to screw out the back of the torso, and I've always considered, should I do that? Because they're up in the attic, and I don't know. I mean, if Mikey had been really into that kind of thing, I would, but I don't know. So now they start coming out with these amazing 6-inch figures where they have a knife, you can put it right there. You have a gun, you can put it there. You have a backpack, and everything is functional. And they look so much. They make the original 83 G.I. Joes look like crap in comparison.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the technology, and I think now a lot of the people that are making the figures are people like us who grew up with them. So they're like, we know the limitations that they had. Let's remove those limitations where and when we can. And the functionality of everything is like my favorite thing. Because then you're less likely to lose. Oh, shoot, where's Duke's pistol? Shoot, where'd it go? You know, oh, it's in his holster. Or where's Scarlett's knife? Oh, it's in her boot. You know, it's like the stuff's where it's supposed to be.
Said I'm doing O-ring replacements on my own Joe figures. Always handy to have some. See, you get
absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's cool.
And it's one of those where I'm like, all right, look it. There's a couple figures that are my favorites that I have to get. I have to limit myself though. I'm not getting villains. Like with Funkos, I'm not getting villains. I have to limit my Funkos now. You know, really make sure you want these because otherwise they become clutter real fast. Yeah. So, all right, they came out with the great Snake Eyes. They always have like different versions of Snake Eyes. Well, they have one that comes with the wolf. He has the scarf too that goes with them. He has a sword and the guns and the knives embedded, and it's got the visor. So I go on eBay and I get just him. I don't need Timber, the wolf. Well, then I'm like, maybe I'll get Duke. Well, which Duke do it? So long story short, I start getting some G.I. Joes and I start posing them. And I find a stalker at Ollie's. You know, Ollie's for $8. I'm like, I have. Oh yeah,
Ollie's has had an amazing amount of deals here of late. I saw them. I don't want to say palette. I saw the table of G.I. Joe figures when I was in there for something else, and I'm like, if I wasn't in here for this, I would totally be going through that and just.
They have a Cobra Rattler Lego set, which I was like, I can't, I'm not doing it. I want to.
Wow.
I wanted the Rattler, but it's no. So, and Scott Tipton, he's a child. He doesn't have kids, so his money goes right to all the Legos and all the toys and all the, So now for Christmas, and again, I'm trying to limit myself. I got Tiger Force Duke. I got Outback, which is amazing. But I got the Tiger Force one where he's got white hair or gray hair instead of red. The Snake Eyes. Who else did I get? I got Gung Ho for my birthday. And it's the good Gung Ho. It's the one that actually looks like the original figure, not the metal thing that they came out with. And for Christmas, and I haven't opened them yet, but I got Spirit.
Very cool.
Spirit looks great. But anyway, so now and I got General Hawk, which just came out with the leather jacket. You know me and leather jacket. Wow, that's
cool. Yeah.
So had to get him. But then I'm like, all right, wait, just really think this out before you get him. Well, I got Spirit. I'm going to open him up. I already pre-ordered Quick Kick, who's coming out, who looks amazing. They have the different hands you can put on them. And I've been a sucker for Quick Kick. It always bothered me that in the comics, Larry Hama killed him off screen. It ticks me off. But, martial art guy, I always was like, oh, I like the commitment of this guy. He's got a sash with the Chinese stars and everything. So that was my thing. And again, They're on my oh, and on top of that, I got 4 Indiana Jones figures, which again,
Nice.
you know, there are certain things, and Cindy knows this too. There are certain things we don't even have to discuss that we're getting. If it's Stargate, MacGyver, Monkeys, Indiana Jones related, I'm getting it. You know,
Absolutely.
Especially the 6-inch figures that you could pose. How do I not? How do I? Now, I didn't get the villains. I didn't get any of the side characters. I just got Indy. Because again, I'm not playing with them. I'm 49. I'm not playing with them. But
oh yeah, I mean you're like me.
inspiring.
A lot of times it'll either sit in a box on a shelf or it'll be out of the box on a shelf in like a diorama type thing.
Display, and you can repose them when you get sick of the way that they're posed. And for me, it inspires me. That's the thing. That's why I do it, because I'm like, you know, oh yeah, oh I love that pose. You know, like just cool stuff like that, like little things that either bring you back to your childhood or spark the imagination for what I'm writing now. Or
absolutely. One of the things that I'm planning on doing, I'm gonna.
Isn't that fun to go the other way?
You can kind of see. I got to remember I'm mirrored on here.
I know.
You can kind of see these 2 shelves here.
Yeah.
My plan, knock on wood, is to convert this shelf to the gate room of the SGC.
Sure.
And that shelf to Atlantis's gate room.
Sure.
I don't know how, when, or feasibly how much that's going to run me, but I have access to adult money and I have access to 3D printing equipment. So time will tell.
Right. But you know what?
And plus I got a buddy that's big on, drafting stuff. He, Royce, over the summer, he had drafted some stuff for Star Wars figures and actually made it look like the ship or the hallway of I think it was the Tantive Fort.
Okay.
So he could display his droids. I'm like, that's really cool. And I told him, I'm like, that's a brilliant way to
a picture of that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's doing a lot better than what he was doing midsummer, but he's trying to keep certain things as a hobby, which I admire and greatly appreciate. Because a lot of times people will be like, oh, I got a 3D printer. I can turn around and make money. It's like,
no.
Do we have to turn everything into a money making thing?
Right.
It's
this thing. It's we're doing it because we're passionate.
It's fun. Yeah, it's for fun. It's something we enjoy.
Speaking of which, I have been now. I'm looking at Hasbro makes all these great figures, Marvel, all of that, and I've been after and I encourage everybody else to do this too. Go to Amazon and MGM and bug them to get Hasbro to make decent Stargate figures.
Mm-hmm.
You look over my shoulder, I have one of them where it was supposed to turn and it didn't turn and it broke off. And I sent it back and I got another one and that one broke off. And I went, okay.
Was that a size Diamond Select?
Yeah.
One? Yeah.
They're just garbage.
I think Diamond Select makes really good display. Really good display pieces where it's like a statue or a piece to put on the wall or what have you.
Right.
But I think they definitely did not realize what they were getting into when they were getting into the articulation of action figures.
And they did the whole 3D scan of all the actors.
Mm-hmm.
Great, because they used it then for the video game that we never got. And great. Hang on to those. But now get in bed with Hasbro because Hasbro cares and Hasbro makes the best stuff. McFarlane is doing figures, but he and you'll appreciate this, and so will TF there. 7-inch is too big. 6-inch is your limit as far as the size that you're going to go. Believe it or not, 1 more inch, and now a kid can't play with it. They're bulky, they're clumsy, they're just in your way.
Well, that and it's not the standard for like a lot of. Not that Stargate had vehicles, but like if you wanted to like cross the stream, so to speak, and have like your
Star Wars
Stargate figures playing with your Star Wars or Ghostbusters or whatever.
Right.
It doesn't.
Is it? That's
it doesn't. You got to hunch the character over into like a ball to get him in the Jeep or whatever. It just doesn't work.
Even Gung Ho that I got. He's bigger than the other figures, but I think that was done on purpose because he's big. He's supposed to be the big muscle-bound Cajun guy.
Yeah. And in a sense like that makes sense.
And then I got, not to go back to it, but just it's popping into my Fron. I got Han Solo. I got the
Nice.
Han Solo from Force Awakens.
Very
Put him
cool.
right next to Indy. And then my buddy, because it's always bothered me, I always wanted a good Luke Skywalker with the robe, with the hood, and the lightsaber. Well, my buddy goes, here, I got 2 of them. Which one do you want? And this one didn't have the robe, and this one did. I'm like, give me the robe one. And it is perfect because he's a little shorter than the 6-inch because he's shorter than Han.
Yeah.
And you can't just make him the same size, but they did it on purpose. And I have him with the sword, and it's the cloth cape, which is makes all the difference. The Star Wars figures that they've been coming out, if they have a cape, they make it cloth. Beautiful. And so that's next to them.
It's that attention to detail that matters to people.
Honestly. And again, you can either play with them if you're a kid, or in my case, just pose them in a cool way and just go, I got that. Because the other part of it is I had, you lose figures too. My mother had thrown out my Jabba the Hutt when I was a kid. Oh, I didn't think you played with that anyway. I was right in my room. You didn't know. You don't make that decision. So if I ever see like in a yard sale or something, I'm grabbing that Jabba the Hutt. Not that I'll play with it, but it's part of my.
You want to be able to put it back in your collection. Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to go after Hasbro and Amazon MGM and say, hey, how about some decent, good? Because there's no reason why they can't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Give us some good Stargate figures.
Did I see?
You're going to go right into what I was just about to segue into.
Yeah. Is that actually a real thing, or is that some wild idea somebody came up with?
No, apparently they are finally, everybody, here's some news, giving us, or at least rumored, I'll believe it when I see it, but it came from Gate World. So if Gate World posted, I go, okay, that seems legitimate.
They usually do their research and double check things before they just wildly post speculation out there.
It looks like they're finally doing it, coming out with Stargate Funkos. This is something Monkeys, Stargate, SG1 are the ones that I've been after them about, because you get people like Ed Sheeran or whatever the heck his name is. He gets 5 different kinds of Funkos. Monkeys, really? They don't get anything?
Yeah.
But Stargate has gotten nothing. And now apparently the rumor is they're going to start with the movie.
Okay. I mean,
it's a start.
It's fair. It's fair. I mean,
if
the movie
came first, no matter how good or bad it holds up to the series, isn't the point. It was a starting point, so I could see their logic and going, let's do the movie, see how that does. And then because people are already after, me included, get SG1, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So because I even said, when I'm telling the family this, I just looked, I said, we're getting every single one. Oh, yes. And he says, oh, yeah. Like, it's not even questioned. Because again, with our Funkos and anything else, we have to, just because it's pretty doesn't mean we have to own it. But in order to help, look, this side, there is my MacGyver one. And I have one upstairs that's out of the box. My son has a MacGyver one. We're buying it, guys.
I mean, ironically, you and I are the same. I have one, and I've got one. I think I have the one out of the box sitting right on top of the box.
Yeah. So like we're here, Funko. We got you. And Amazon and MGM, Amazon in particular, need to get their head out of their rear end and start marketing this crap, because this fandom has never died or slowed down.
No.
It's only ramped up through the years, and you're leaving money on the table.
Exactly.
By not giving
I know
I
know you and I, if anybody's like, hey, I'm looking for something new to watch or something I haven't watched before, do you got any suggestions? It's like the first thing out of your mouth.
Yeah.
It's one of the first things out of mine, because if I know the person, I'm like, okay, I know they might not necessarily be a sci-fi fan, but I'm going to slip it in there because it's a good series.
It's not about the sci-fi.
Exactly. And then, like, now that things have kind of calmed down after the holiday season, Jess is finally going to get off her butt, and she wants to sit down and watch it with me. She's like, just promise me we're not going to do marathon watching of like multiple episodes all in one sitting. I said, I can promise you I will only request to do that on certain occasions when I know the next episode is so like tied.
Sure.
She's like, okay. So.
Yeah. Well, we're showing the kids. We're up to season 7 now of SG1.
Nice.
So we're watching them in order. And yeah, Daniel came back and they did Fragile Balance. And so we have that and another season to go. And then we're not going to subject them to the non-Jack ones, except for the ones where he's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do the movies and, things like that. Because again, we have Pluto, and Pluto has the Stargate channel.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else on, I'll go, ooh, let's see what episode is on of Stargate. And if it's a Cam Vala one, I'll just
just skip it.
I do, but I go, I'll leave it on, let the kids watch it, wait for their honest opinion. And Mikey goes, why are we still watching this? I said, thank you. There, okay. I didn't want to influence your thoughts, and we got out of it. Mm-hmm. But so that's where we're at with that. But yeah, Funkos, really, please, we're fine. Because Funkos means we're starting. Things are starting. We're getting... Mm-hmm. Funko also is starting to make little action figures. They're not Hasbro level, but they're something of Turtles and G.I. Joe that maybe the joint bend, but they go like this.
Yeah.
It's a start. Just
absolutely.
Please license this. And the latest, if anybody is curious about the latest on the Stargate front, Sidetrack are buddies of ours. I've been on with Jay a couple times and will again in the future. He's the go-to guy because he has sources within Amazon and MGM and all that who report to him and tell him the latest.
Right.
So the latest is, apparently the president of Amazon went to Jenny, I can't think of her last name. Anyway, the one who's in charge of the movies and said, let's get going.
Now that the writers and actors strikes are over, good God, we've got shows coming back like this month from their long hiatus because of everything going on.
Right. So he's saying to them, you need to make an announcement on these shows very soon. I don't know what's holding you up. I'm serious. I better see some progress here.
Yeah. And good God, video games and other things get, buzz list or started years in advance. Come on, what your guys being silent? That's not good.
Well, that's the thing with them that's always ticked me off. Amazon, they could have done this years ago when Joe Malozzi and I were talking about it. We were trying to do that along with everybody else in the Stargate community. Do the, hey, we want new Stargate, Amazon, let us know. Hey, Amazon, nudge, nudge, nudge. Hashtag that. They never said anything. They never.
Well, did they have the rights at the time? I know.
Yes, because that's what kickstarted it. It was okay, Amazon, you own it. Let us know. And that's years ago. And now we're so many years on, and they're, if you listen to Sidetrack, he tells you they are making a series, they are making a movie, but they haven't officially said anything.
Mm-hmm.
Say something. I mean, if they had said years ago, we hear you, and that was the only thing they posted on, say, Twitter, we would have been thrilled. They heard us. It wasn't for nothing. It was great. They heard us. That would have kept people, okay, Amazon heard us. As a community, you just want to be heard.
Oh, absolutely.
And they haven't done squat for the people. They like to keep things quiet. Well, at this point, it's pathetic. And they were supposed to announce new Stargate at San Diego Comic-Con, but then the strikes hit.
Yeah, that got waylaid because of everything going on.
Okay, fair enough. That's wanted to have actors on stage and say, guess what's coming? I got that. Maybe, from what Jay says, they might be waiting until the next Comic-Con to have people up on stage to announce it. Okay, but let us know. Give us something, Here you go. TF says that tends to be typical of big companies quite a few times. No matter how many times you nudge them, they tend not to listen. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then us lose focus or, not care or have faith in those companies. And
absolutely. It's a prime example is prime example. The movies that were released between the beginning of the actors' strike and the end of the actors' strike, a lot of them, people were pushing the narrative that, oh, films, movie theaters are finally dying because of this and that. It's like, no. A major driving factor behind anybody going to see any movie is seeing the character or the actors in the thing promoting it, seeing the directors promoting it, seeing people that are actively involved in the movie promoting it. When you've got people that are just Joe Schmo off the street, or I know I saw one movie was using like local politicians or whatever to promote it. It's like, that's not going to help your case, guys. You need the people that are passionate about it, that were in it. Like, come on.
And that's the other
it's not rocket science. It's not even making, to throw back to our earlier conversation, it's not even the O-rings that are part of the factor. It's pretty simple. You need the talent to push the project.
Paul Peters is teasing you a bit, by the way.
I get that a lot.
Because of the zany shirt, maybe. But
I get that a lot. Well, my hair's kind of wild. So.
But yeah, I mean, and the other thing that Jenny, what's her face, seems to be hooked as, we have to do a movie. And we've talked about this. You can't do, movies don't mean what they used to. In today's world, television series are much better. And especially in the case of Stargate. Wait, you're going to give me a 2-hour movie that kind of tells a story, doesn't really get in depth of character? No, give me 10 or more episodes of a season.
Absolutely.
And now I'm happy because it was well paced and we got to delve into deeper stuff and all of that. If they think they're going to throw a movie out first and people are going to run to the theater, no. And I'm Mr. Stargate like you are, and I'm not going to feel my that they care enough for me. So I'll go see it, but I know I'm going to be in an empty theater because
more than likely,
world who never got into Stargate, we want you to come and already know what we're talking about before the credits start to roll.
Absolutely, and that's the problem with them wanting to do a movie first. No, that's
stupid.
If they want to do a movie-like experience, do a miniseries route. Do 3. Let's see, what was it? The Continental. Those episodes on, I think it was Peacock, were like an hour and a half ish, something like that. And all 3 of them told a cohesive story. If you were familiar with the John Wick universe, you could enjoy it. If you weren't familiar with the John Wick universe, it was still a very interesting story that could possibly get you interested and care about the characters.
Right.
Or at least the universe,
Well, that's
something they could do.
Jay said that, again, on Sidetrack, had said that MGM went back to Amazon and said, guys, come on, please, listen to reason. We need to do a series. So I guess what the latest is the rumor, of course. None of this has been confirmed because Amazon doesn't tell us anything. But they might do a miniseries, a movie, and then an ongoing series. I'm fine with that.
Ambitious. Let's see some forward movement with it.
Right. Just let us know.
I mean, good God. What the heck's it called? The Fallout series that Amazon Prime is doing. We heard about that, I think, I want to say near the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe during the pandemic, we found out that they were going to be doing that. Mm-hmm. We've gotten more for that series, which I think I remember seeing something where it's getting released sometime this year. That has had more forward movement and more buzz than anything with the Stargate franchise that they have. Now, I think it was through Sidetrack. I had seen something about there were photos going around where it looked like they had been doing the preliminary builds for potential set pieces and set props and things like that. Mm-hmm. Great. Where's studio statements? Come on, something.
Right.
Again, it goes back to that. We hear you. Okay, great. Now we know there's at least something instead of just speculation and hopes and dreams and,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's all. I know as a logical, reasonable person, I want that, and I don't want them to destroy what we love I mean, apparently it is in continuity. They're not going to mess anything up. Okay, but they still could very easily look at the last 2 seasons, for example. Like, and that wasn't even as bad as what Amazon can do starting from scratch. And I'll feel at ease. Here's a great example. I'll feel at ease when I see the first episode and I can go, okay, so they're not contradicting anything. They're not. It's like how I felt when the new Quantum Leap started. I was nervous, apprehensive. I peed a little, and then I saw the episode and went, okay, no, okay, all right, thank you. You're respecting everything that came before. You know, of course we want Jack there, but I understand if he's not part of it all the time. I want him to be. Basically, you want what the greedy side of you wants, more of what you love. So you want Jack and
absolutely,
and Sam.
Absolutely.
Now, I think they also want to do. They also want to do new characters, which is great because you should. It should be more new people. It's been 15 years, so they have to catch us up on what.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, I know. I know. For the things that we've missed out of the. I'm lighting the candle. Because it's still calling me because it's Christmas.
There you go.
And it's right in front of me, so I hate to see a candle not being used. Anyway,
that's your inner pyromaniac. I mean,
yeah. Well, actually, we teased my son about that because when we go camping, he loves to burn stuff in the fire. Anyway, they have to catch us up on what we've missed for the last 15 years. So there's going to be changes. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's say Jack retired. Fine. Here's all I really need from Jack. Ultimately, I want more. I want Jack all the time. I want a show of Jack. I want the movie starring Jack that we were supposed to get from Brad Wright. But at the bare minimum, I need Jack to be around once in a while to know that he's there. Even if he's retired, I need him and Carter to be together. I need them to say, even if they could have done this during the last 2 seasons, how's Jack, Carter? Or Sam? Oh, good. Fixing up the cabin. Yeah, we'll be up there tomorrow or whatever. And move on. That way we go, oh, they're together. We always want more Jack. CTF says
absolutely.
We want more Jack. Just a natural thing to do since he's his levity is needed. He's also
absolutely.
part of the series. And when again, we've said this a trillion times on a trillion episodes. When he left, we understood, okay, it's going to be Stargate without Jack. But we still got the other 3. It'll be fine. And then it wasn't fine because of the added things, not because of what was still there. So now have him be there because you're never going to replace Jack. You're never going to get the new Jack.
Yeah.
But if he's there in the control room, checking in on them, or if he's retired, and again, I'm writing it in my head. There's an ancient thing that we found, and we need someone with the prime ancient gene. Well, a guy.
Someone that has that,
So occasionally, if he's at least if he's around, you could bring him back now and then.
Absolutely, kind of like what they did with General Hammond.
Exactly, and that's all I want. I want that. I want to know that the adventure goes on because again, I'm also doing the audio series, which continues that story. So I'd like it to not conflict, but I also need to know that him and Sam have their happy ending. Yeah. Even if we never, God forbid, we never see Jack again, if we know that he's around, but they don't bring Richard Dean Anderson in, big mistake. But at least say that the 2 of them have their happy ending.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And if they don't bring Jack O'Neill back, hopefully it's not because of anything malice or anything like that. Hopefully it's because RDA is like, you know what? As much as I would love to, I'm really enjoying my retirement. Okay, I can respect that.
He keeps saying
it'll hurt. Yeah, I was gonna say it'll hurt my heart, but I can respect that because he's doing self-care.
It's how you handle the character. If you are respectful for the character, I want to know that Indy keeps going on adventures.
Exactly, and that was actually what I was about to say. My biggest worry is they're not going to be respectful of what's come before. Very much how you and I were concerned about the new Quantum Leap series. And up until we saw that first episode, because I remember you texting me saying, you need to let me know when you've seen the episode. And I could feel your excitement to want to kind of just gush whatever after the fact, because you knew if you enjoyed it, I was going to enjoy it as well.
Exactly.
And after I sat there and watched it, I'm like, okay, these mother effers lied. This is not a reboot. This is a continuation.
Right. People are still messing up terms.
And they rebooted certain aspects of it by, getting rid of the waiting room and doing this, handling the lore a little bit better as you go into the first season. It's like, okay, I dig it. I love it, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do when they come back from their winter break and everything with the second season, because it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. And I want to know what's going on with, two characters' paths constantly.
Right. But again, it's what they got to start. People in the industry have to stop saying reboot if it's not a reboot. Mm-hmm. It's a revival. Revival is much better. Give me revival of any show, any movie. If you can connect the dots, that's all we ask. That's all we ask. As a matter of fact, let me go into the Stargate thing. If they give us a new Stargate and it's supposed to be a new team, you can't Cam Mitchell this sucker and go, he's your new Jack, huh?
Yeah.
No. And ease him in. Let's have our original guys put their arm around them, get to know them. We get to know them. And that way, when our guys aren't in a scene, we don't go, this sucks. We want to have faith in the new characters.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, with the revival is the key word there. It's exactly what it should be pushed as. Reboots and reimaginations, though, are kind of synonymous. They're not exactly one to one the same. Like a reboot is we're gonna try to recapture that feeling from the first series. A reimagination is different.
Right.
Prime example, Battlestar Galactica. That show was campy as hell,
right,
and absurd and silly, but the Battlestar Galactica reimagination wasn't.
Right.
So
and that was an update. Same thing like believe it or not, Hawaii 5-0. Hawaii 5-0 made things better than the original. But then they stuck to a formula, as we know, that you got tired of real quick. It went from being, exciting.
You could tell what time it was by what was going on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell where the season was going to go by the first episode of that season. And you go, okay, all right, guys, now you're just being lazy, which, as we know, then became the Not MacGyver show. And probably Magnum, which I didn't watch much of. I watched the first couple episodes, and now that's done. So that's done. I don't
think it's done yet. I think they still have the rest of this season to wrap up.
2-hour season finale was this week.
Oh, was it this week? Okay, I knew it was coming up. I didn't know when it was
because there was no quantum leap. So they went, "We're giving you the last 2 episodes." Boom, and now they're gone.
Okay, so they are done.
I mean, that type of juvenile,
for the type of show they had for the Magnum PI series, it was okay. I mean, I enjoyed watching that far more than I enjoyed watching Faux MacGyver. Anytime, and it's funny, we've gotten to the point where anytime we're watching or we're out with somebody and like, oh yeah, I watched the original MacGyver and I just recently started the newer MacGyver. I will physically tense, and my wife will just reach over and put her hand on my shoulder, like, no. I'm like, nope. Can of worms has just exploded. I will be like, you know what the problem is with, and I will just go.
If you want to manipulate me as far as my emotions and trigger me, start talking about that. Talking, which, by the way, thank God, as time goes on, nobody is.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, and I find it funny. I find it funny that because I thought I'd put MacGyver on my watch list on Paramount Plus. Mm-hmm. So I go through my list and it's not there. I'm like, well, that's weird. I know it's on here because they have the rights. They're not going to remove it. So I go through and I type in MAC, and it was like 1 or 2 like quick movies that start with MAC, and then the next row down it was MacGyver, and then like 2 rows down it was the other one, and I'm like, that right there says everything.
Yeah,
they don't even have them right next to each other. I love that.
I just love that we don't need to do a weekly report on how god awful it is anymore. I mean, when I'll never forget how relieved and happy I was when they said that it was done. I laughed. Remember, I would keep randomly.
And the fact that me, I always was trying to find that like one sliver, one glimmer of good positivity, whatever. And then they got to the episode where they were in the Paris catacombs, and I was like, you know what? Nope, I'm done. I can't. This is just total nonsense.
I don't. So. Yeah, we don't need to go down that road. But the point is, time wins out, and now that vanishes, and people talk about the actual MacGyver. And I'll tell you,
and we get to sit here and wax on about, the episodes.
Look at TF says new MacGyver equals pain. I wasn't able to watch it after the first few minutes. Yeah, brother.
I think Mac and I were secretly masochists because we stuck with it for far longer than we probably should have.
Explain it is, if I do a podcast about it, I unfortunately had to watch every second of it so that way I can have a informed opinion. Blah 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 blah. But I took a bullet for everybody. Okay, everybody out there. And here's a thing that I wanted to tell you in particular.
What's that?
So, the Quantum Leap podcast and the Fates Wide Wheel are two Quantum Leap podcasts that I watch and enjoy. Mm-hmm. And they get the writer on, the producer, the creator, anybody, the people who wrote the episode are on, the stars are on, and it's cool. All the time, and it's great, and they have a great chat, and they're wonderful people, and fill me with inspiration. And it dawned on me, I could have had that with this. If I were a butt kisser and only cared about getting people on this show, I could have had people from the Not MacGyver show on while it was filming to give me such insight and such the way that the wonderful people through Quantum Leap do for those podcasts. I could have done that, but I don't want to. Right. I have nothing against the actors. They're just actors doing their best with what they're given. So don't ever think that I badmouth any of them.
Oh no! I mean, they do. They do their job. They show up. They hit their mark. They say their line. Then
right. But we live in a toxic world where people love to hate people, and I don't want to add to that. So I understood that. Boy, you know what? If I could have done that if I were not sincere in my respect and passion for MacGyver. I could have had them on. I could have had so many clicks and people would have been watching these a trillion times. I don't care though. That's it. It's better to promote the good than to be okay with the bad.
Yeah. Well, and you didn't want to compromise,
my integrity.
Yeah.
I know. I know. But I think back on that, I'm like, yeah, that could have been a thing. I could have had that if I were that type of person, and I proudly. It's not to get political, or not that it's ever political with him, but I always said to Cindy, if I were given the Lifetime Achievement Award, the biggest award you can get in the entire universe, to me, and it was going to be handed to me by Trump, I would say, no thanks. I'm busy that day. I'm washing my hair. I swear to God, I would turn it down because of that. And it's the same type of thing where what really matters to you? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's really the thing. Like, I was given an opportunity this week. Matter of fact, on Friday, I could have just walked out of work and had a manager job. But the way it was presented, it was implied it would cost my manager their job. Right. And I was like, I straight up told the owners, I said, the amount of disrespect that shows. And you know me, I do my best to not cuss. I do my best not to, go, full throttle into rage and whatnot. But apparently the tone in my voice when I was talking to these two guys was, you don't realize how much trouble you guys are really in, because if I leave, I'm fairly certain the person that has been holding your ship together, so to speak, she's probably going to realize, wow, they just ticked off him. I don't know if I'm going to be able to work here anymore because he was helping keep me together. Right. Because when I was around, I was doing the stuff to help alleviate her plate. Here it was a miscommunication thing. And I looked at them and I said, this is going to be this is where you learn words matter, not just spoken, but also written. The context of when you write something depends on two people's frames of mind. Yours, when you're writing it, because you might use slightly aggressive language, and then the state of mind, the person that's going to be reading it that you're sending it to. If they are having a bad day, they're going to read it different context than what you are.
Texting.
And they're like, exactly, absolutely, yeah. And I think that's how they were doing it, which boggles my mind. It's like, okay, you guys are having a conversation. That would be more beneficial to hear the person's tone.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
But anyway, so after that all said and done, everything's hunky-dory. Everybody, it seems like they're on the same page. I am not the manager yet. She's still the district manager. Yay. Because I like her. She does, I can be like, all right, well, that's not my problem. That's a district manager job. And then I'll leave.
Right. Right.
But it's just, it's a prime case where you have to hold your integrity. And that's absolutely what I did in that situation.
Again, I don't make a cent off this. I bust my rear end. I do the audio.
You do it for fun.
But it's a passion. It's a vocation. You want to put good out into the world.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, if anybody'd like to leave a tip, go to the top of this chat bar thing. We have a Patreon.
Tips? Oh, yeah, the Patreon, right.
A tip or a contribution or anything to help keep the lights on, that would be greatly appreciated, because doing this live thing costs money. And yeah, every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Love. Oh, before we get into the episode, I know you've seen this, but just for everybody at home, here's the first ornament that goes on the tree every year.
Love that.
Become a plague on our galaxy.
Can you hear it?
Yep.
Annihilating everything in its path.
Anybody who comes up is not getting down.
Sir, if you can't get off the ship.
Yeah, I know.
So it's got like 3 or 4 little things. I just put the new batteries in, because now a lot of them are those little discs. They're not the other ones. And I never know what size. If there's a standard size, I guess I have to still learn that.
Yeah, I think it's a common.
But it's the first one to go on, and it's the first one to come off, because I have to put it in its own special box, because you know how rare this sucker is.
Very. I have a Atlantis, a Daedalus, and a Stargate ball ornament that were hand painted by a friend of mine. Those are usually always on the tree. Not necessarily the first ones to go on, because I let Jess handle putting the tree up. Our jobs are very simple at Christmas. My job is to lug everything up from the basement, organize it so that the tree stuff is one spot. Her little her other decorations are in another spot. I put the tree up. I make myself dizzy by going around the tree with the lights, and then I put the tree topper on. At that point, it's in her capable hands.
Yeah, the kids and Cindy handle the lights. I used to drag up the tree, but now Mikey can do it, because I can't go into the basement because of all the dust and mold and crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I help put on the ornaments, and we all have certain ones, like, oh, this one is for you to put on, and this one's for you, and that kind of thing. All right, so let's move on to the episode, and we can go off on tangents later. This week's episode is The Enemy Within, the 15th episode of the first season of MacGyver. The Enemy Within, we'd already done an episode titled that, and it was the Stargate episode 2.
Yep. For a brief moment, when you sent me the text of what episode we were watching, I saw the title and I'm like,
wait a minute, I know.
I think we did that. And then I went and I reread the text. I'm like, okay, yep, no, that makes sense.
So let's see. Writer David Abramowitz, director Cliff Cole, premiered February 12th, 1986. Okay, so a mole inside the DXS has betrayed 4 agents to their deaths. Okay. Will MacGyver be next? The traitor is closer than he ever imagined. I'm reading this off of MacGyver Online. Anybody who is looking for quick resources for MacGyver info, directors, stars of certain episodes, that's a great place to go. They have a forum too, which I think we talked about last time. where a member who has since passed actually went through all the trouble to go to the old filming locations on his own. And like, hey, I took a picture of this field, which if you look the way the mountains go, you can tell, that's where this angle was. And just like really, this is before Earth Cam. So really busted his chops to do that. And I went down a rabbit hole with that.
Oh yeah. It's fascinating to see when, like just the sheer lengths that they went through to achieve that.
Yeah, and then I found out that the poor guy passed away, but what an amazing job. And now with Earth Cam, I can just go, let's see what the building looks like right now. That kind of thing. And the building where MacGyver, the MacGyver, the episode where MacGyver finds Booker still has the hole in the wall from where he punched it.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Here we go. But the TF says, this episode is one I tend to refer to as the one where BB Doll is evil. When I showed it to my brother, he couldn't believe the twist. Okay, so wait a minute. Let me see. BB Doll. I'm trying to see the name on the list of who that might be. Are you talking about Ingrid?
I think that is a character that she played in something else.
Okay. Wow. I know she's done a couple other things. I'm going to start off by saying, and I'm sorry because I don't like to be negative, not a great actress. The one who's Ingrid, Ingrid, the new wife.
Yeah,
it's rough. Usually you get some obviously great actors. Yep, BB Doll in the James Bond. There you go. Yeah, you're right. That was the other thing I saw from the James Bond For Your Eyes Only. Yes, you're right.
Yep.
Maybe eye candy, but not. She's cute. I remember seeing this episode originally going, oh, cute blonde girl. Okay.
Yeah, but, it's the shift from how she was presented at the beginning, because in that role, in that portion of the character, okay, believable, I guess. But then once you shift to the turn, so to speak, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a bit, needs a little more practice.
It's funny too, because as a kid, when you're first watching it, you're there for MacGyver. You don't necessarily care about anything else. And
you don't necessarily pick up on stuff like that when you're a kid watching it.
Yeah. But when you watch them a trillion times, as I do, you go, oh, wow, she's one of the rare bad actresses that, because usually nobody would say anything, but my family will notice it too and go, woo, wow. Everything is wooden. You don't really believe what she's saying, but she was the cute blonde girl, so that was her point. All right, so let's get into it. So the episode starts with MacGyver on a mission in Germany.
Yep, East Germany.
Okay. Or Austria, or I couldn't remember. But anyway, because the soldiers are still wearing with the World War II Nazi almost
aesthetic, yeah.
And he meets with looks like a hunter, and they have a little banter, which is cute. Because it's funny because it's early on where MacGyver has that first couple episodes, devil in his eye when he's on a mission, where he's kind of messing with people. And he goes, oh, okay, so you're my contact, and he takes whatever he needs from him, and they're talking. Now all of a sudden the Germans show up with dogs.
Yeah.
And they start speaking German. And this is one of the things I love about that they did with MacGyver that they didn't care to keep in the not MacGyver. He can't speak every language. He can speak a couple words in this language, maybe a couple words in another, but he's not fluent in other languages.
Yeah, like he can have like basic conversations
to a point. Sure.
Yeah.
But he's always said, like, I don't know, my German's a little rusty, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. Which I love. Because it stops him from being Mr. Perfect. He's the everyman, basically, with his special ability, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
And the Germans start barking orders at him, the soldiers, and he just starts speaking gibberish to confuse them. Mein Frau and the apple sauce and the, and they get confused, and I love the turn. He's smiling, and he gives like a smirk to the guy, and then takes the hen off his belt and throws it for the dogs. It's so smart because that's the thing you have to really, besides the bullets, the dogs are going to come after you unless you distract them because they're faster than us.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I love the fact, that instinctually they just
pew.
Yep. They're like,
I don't know what happened to the other guy. I'm sure he's fine. But and he's running, and then all of a sudden here comes a car that stops, and the motorcycle soldier slams into him. Mm-hmm. This beginning, it's not even an opening gambit. It's essentially
because it actually happened after the opening credits, which
but it
doesn't always happen. Yeah,
this could have been an opening gambit had they still done that because it's a little adventure before the rest of the episode.
Yep.
So the car
and it would have been a rare occasion where it tied kind of into the actual episode too.
Exactly, and I love that. So, Banister, come on, get in. So he goes to get in the car. What the heck? Gets in the car and they start down the hill, and I love that because it's nice to see him have a friend.
Yeah.
In the organization, and you do get to see this guy one more time during the birthday episode with him, which coincidentally isn't called Birthday. He comes back for the flashback, but he's at his party. So you're like, all right, I appreciate the continuity. Good, thank you.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know. I wonder if they had planned for Banister to be someone that he works with in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or even if he just runs into him in the office, like with Pete. Because again, this is the DXS. So it makes sense that Banister stayed at the DXS when they went to the Phoenix Foundation.
Right.
If Pete and him go to the Phoenix Foundation, why would Banister? Banister seems like he was supposed to be next in line if something were to happen to Pete. Or at least that's
that's the impression I got.
Right.
Judging by the dialogue and even the fact that he's got an office there. So
right. Good point.
That's usually indicative of, okay, this person's important that they've got their own office.
Yeah, and he's full-time. MacGyver says, I'm just part-time.
Yeah, and I love how he's just like, look, I'm not salaried, you are. Or I'm part-time. I love that they stuck with that.
So, and my canon in my head is when Pete and MacGyver went to Phoenix, Banister stepped into Pete's role. So good for him.
Yeah.
Which would explain why we don't see him. So now they start going down the hill and they're catching up and they're talking about the new manager. Oh yeah, you'll love him. And you don't know that it's Pete yet.
Yeah.
But then, okay, here come the bad guys. The bad guys shot at them, and I love the bullets going into the car. It's very Indiana Jones attention to detail. You know what I mean? You're actually seeing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Here we go. TF says Banister should have been a bit more recurring. I felt he was pretty likable, yes, and could have been pretty great in case they needed a tougher tag along. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, agreed. No, I totally agree with that.
But again, I'm glad that they didn't, because what the one producer tried to do was try and get Bruce McGill to be Jack Dalton in every episode, and that wouldn't have worked in the long run. MacGyver is a series about one guy, not a team. He's not part of it. It's not a team show. Hello, CBS. That they avoided a lot of problems if the one producer had gotten his way. Things would have been not the MacGyver we know.
It would absolutely have changed the entire feeling of the series.
Because I always say, there's a couple episodes where they do a team episode, and those are my least favorite because you're not getting enough MacGyver.
Yeah, and doing a team episode is okay, but don't do it every week. Do it once a season.
If that. I can only think of two, Twice Stung and Jenny's Chance, and I can't stand the majority of those episodes because MacGyver is not being MacGyver. MacGyver is MacGyver being a different character to be undercover. Yeah, give me MacGyver. Just let him be him. Just, however, I do love Dexter. So when he would be Dexter, which they brought him back 3 times, he was Dexter. Great. Because now it's funny. Now it's MacGyver kind of teasing, messing with these people again, being a nerd. Great. But again, another thing is they did it sparingly, because if they did it too much, you would have gone, all right, enough. We got it. Yeah. So while they were shooting at them, the brake line got shot. And I love that detail too. Do you actually see the ping and it starts out?
And I like how it was they didn't just have it once and then, oh, what's going on? As the car was having trouble, they cut back and you're seeing it shooting more fluid out. And then you see it go dry and he's almost like standing on the brake trying to get it to stop.
And that brings back a nightmare from when my brakes failed one time. That's that. I'll tell you that later. So yeah, and they're going down a hill, and you can feel every time. Now again, I've seen this a trillion times, but every time you feel that, oh, this isn't good. I even know how this ends, and this isn't good. This is a bad situation.
Yeah, well, and part of that might actually be the fact that you have personal experience with your brakes going on. But like the sheer attention to detail in this section, I greatly appreciate. Like, and I even kind of like noticed it this time watching, where as you're seeing the car like swerve and everything going down the hill, there's a really nice shot of the side of the car where you're like, I think it's just above the back driver's side rear tire, and you can see the bullet marks along the side of the car. And too many times, a lot of times, shows will just be like, they'll just use stock footage or whatever, and it's like pristine.
Right.
This, they actually, made sure, okay, we're going to film this section. It's going to be after it's riddled with bullets, know. And I just really appreciate that attention to detail.
I love it. I love that. You just see the holes. That's magic to me. So, and the whole thing of them, you can feel the tension between them. Oh, we're stopping. All right. No. I mean, there's got to be a way. And like that whole MacGyver's scared and he's scared and they're still trying to put on a brave face, but you can feel that tension. Pop the hood. What? Just pop it. So he pops it, and the wind rips it off, which
another detail.
Let me tell you my story right now, because it's very, not to the same degree, but there are moments of this episode going through my head as this stuff happens.
All right.
So years ago, I'm coming home. I was driving like a minivan, a blue minivan, and it was great because you got to sit in sideways as opposed to get down into the car. And I always loved that. I've been spoiled with it. So I felt like as I'm using the brakes, these don't feel like they're sticking like they should. Took it to a local garage. They looked at the pads and went, no, you're good. I said, are you sure? I don't feel like this is really, it's not stopping as quick as I'd like it to. You're fine. Tell my father, you're fine. You're just imagining things. Okay. Sure, Dad. So I'm coming home from work one day, and I'm on Main Avenue, and not going fast, so it's not the same type of story. But there is an ice cream place off to the side with people. There are people walking on the sidewalk on the opposite side, and the light goes red, and I go to use my brakes, and I'm not stopping. But the cars in front of me are. And I'm going, ooh, 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 ooh. And you can feel that panic, which I've had nightmares or that feeling ever since.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of gone away, but there were a long time where I would have those nightmares of that uncontrolled. I'm doing everything I possibly can, and this freaking car isn't stopping. Now I have a choice. I mean, I'm standing on the pedal with my butt in the air, and it's coming to a stop, but not fast enough. And I'm coming up on this guy's bumper, and I can do one of two things. I could turn left into the ice cream people. I could turn right into the people on the sidewalk. Well, I'm not doing either one of those. So the van is tilted now, and I went under this guy's bumper. It was the back of it. So under the bumper, and it stopped me. Now, it wasn't a big smash. It was just a thump. Okay, car came to a stop, put the car in park. The guy gets out. No. I said, it's not your fault. It just my brakes failed. The cops are called. They come, and the guys decides, I'm hurt. Now his car isn't damaged at all. It went under it. All he did was stop me. He should have felt like a hero. Yeah. My front of my car is plastic, so that's destroyed, and the hood is crunched. All because it went under his car.
Yep. And once it came to a rest, it popped up and a little bit and shattered it or what have you.
I'll tell you. So
okay.
Don't get ahead of me. So cop says, all right, are you okay? Meanwhile, the ice cream guy has the nerve to come out. Could you move this? This is bothering my business. I'm on the phone with my father at the time. Yeah, and I have that guy saying that. I have Mr. Oh, my neck, I think. Oh, he starts screaming at me. I said, yeah, the brakes didn't work. And this guy said, could you move your car? I said, hang on a second. What? You're blocking, you're interfering with my business. Get out of here. Like I'm trying to not scream because now I've got bigger issues than this guy's business.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And the guy turns around and goes back. Well, you got to move and shut up. So I start talking again. I said, yeah, the car in front of me stopped and the guy in the car goes, it's not my fault. I said, hang on again. Hi, I didn't say it was your fault. Get back in your car. Just sit there. Anyway, so now the cop shows up and is going, are you okay? I said, yeah, no, I'm fine. It's just the car looks like crap. And I got it, And the guy goes, she turns to the guy and goes, are you okay? He goes, you can see the look in his eye of, wait a minute. Maybe I could, oh, my neck. I'm so, that's when he starts with the, I don't, she goes, da. Are you hurt? No. And shut up and get back in the car. So long story short, then I'm trying to drive it home, and the wind catches the windshield and goes, or the wind catches the hood and goes boom up against my windshield. So now I can't, because there's no clasp now that it got accordion.
Yep, it got.
But the wind took it like the MacGyver episode and went boom. And had I been going faster, it probably would have ripped it off.
Right.
But I'm like, son of a bitch. So I had to pull over with my head out the window, tie it down, and then just get home. Now, a bunch of years later, I don't know, 8 years, maybe more, I get a notice in the mail. Hey, this guy wants to sue you. What guy? So they say, call this lawyer. So I call him, and it's a kid who has since become Facebook friends. Nice guy, loves Stargate. That's what we talked about. And he's claiming that you caused injury or damage to his car. Wrong. He and his wife can't perform. Wife wasn't even in the car, by the way. Right. And he's trying to sue you for such and such dollars. And I said, wait a minute. What who is this guy and what's he talking about? So that he tells me, it's this. I go, oh, no. This guy had nothing. He was not damaged at all.
Yeah.
And so I do a little research because they're like, well, we got to set up a time to go to court. I said, great. Let me in there. I can't wait to confront this guy. And he goes, no. That's not your job. You're not supposed to. I said, listen, this scumbag is trying to attack me and sue me for something that I didn't do. Let me in there. I will go Perry Mason, Matlock on his rear end. I will rip him a new one. So beforehand, the lawyer goes, just hang on. I'll do a little research. Well, I like to do my own research. I call up his insurance and said, here's my situation. They go, what? Wait a minute. Type it in. Oh, no, this guy caused a 4-car accident 3 months ago. His car got destroyed. That's where he got injured, and he injured 3 other people. I said, was his wife in the car with him? Yeah. I said,
Okay, so he was trying to lope you into the nonsense that happened recent. Wow.
Yep. Scumbag. He's like, wait a minute. I know I'm in major trouble. I need to make money back. Oh, wait, this guy used my car to stop his car. I'll try and maneuver that. So I call up the lawyer and said, or actually went to the lawyer. I said, hi, here's what I found out. Told him the story. He goes, really? Guess what? They dropped the case.
Well, yeah, because that is a whole new level of textbook insurance fraud.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, wait, you're done. You're caught. I was like, so I don't get to rip him a new one? Not in court. No. Said, okay. Case closed, whatever, But I thought, you scumbag. You tried to make money after you hurt people. And from 8 years before. Yeah. Nice try. And a lot of people had just went, the insurance will handle it, or the lawyer will handle it. But I was like, no, I want this guy. I want to.
Well, that and it's that desire to, just prove that you're right. You know what I mean?
Right. There's that too. There was that too. So back to the episode.
Yes.
So now they're going down the hill and they don't have brakes. So MacGyver reattaches the brake line and uses steering fluid to fill an empty brake cylinder. But he's got to climb out there first.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole, when they go around the corner and he gets out of the car, out of the passenger window, and then has to balance himself.
Yeah. And realistically, the only thing holding him on that car is
hand in his foot.
His foot hanging partially into the passenger side, his foot planted firmly on the roof, and his one hand that's not being used to maneuver and finagle things.
Right. Okay. TF says that sounds like one heck of a stressful experience, but man, that guy really didn't think it through with the whole insurance thing. No,
he definitely did not.
And if I didn't do anything, it would have gone to court. They would have settled because the insurance company just goes, just throw money at him, whatever, just whatever he needs. We don't want the hassle. But then my stuff would have, it would have dinged me.
Mm-hmm.
No. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he uses, I love that they stop the car and he hops into it and says, what's he, I'm trying to think of, not a problem, or, no sweat, and hops back into the car. And
yeah,
they just sit there for a second. How's the life?
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I did appreciate about this episode as well. They didn't stop the car after they, got to the checkpoint, or once they got to the checkpoint. No, they blew through that checkpoint because he's still there, cobbling things together. And then it was once they were safe, they were actually stopped and could have that little quick banter.
For me, and it's just a me thing, I would have gotten out of the car. Once you stop that son of a bee, I'll walk the rest of the way. Thanks. We're now safe. I'm going to take a cab.
I mean, at that point,
right?
At that point, that thought would have definitely crossed my mind as well.
But if you're MacGyver, I guess it doesn't really matter. You can do that kind of thing. And if another problem pops up, I'll just fix it.
Yeah. Well, that and they were out of the stress of being chased by motorcycle and other car and all that.
Yeah.
Plus, where they were at, they might not have had the luxury of just walking the mile to the nearest town or wherever too.
Right.
So
I love, and this is the next scene is he comes into the office, and every time they would show this as a repeat, they would cut this scene out, and it's such a sweet, great example of who MacGyver is. He goes to the counter, says, "Hey Fritz, how's it going?" and signs in, and they have a little chit chat. He goes, "Oh, I have something for you,"
mm-hmm.
and he reconnects Fritz with his sister in East Germany.
Yep.
And you see, there's a letter there too. He tells him, and then the guy's like, speechless. Because MacGyver just changed his life.
Yeah. And it's that level of humanity that I think a lot of people forget. Just a simple, innocuous, quick little conversation that, to anyone else might seem irrelevant. But, this literally changes this guy's life because he was able to reconnect his sister through MacGyver.
Right. And you know what I love best? MacGyver's just walking and he goes, "No problem." Yeah. He doesn't stick around for the accolades or, nope, yes, it was a major pain in the rear end for me to do this. And I could have been sleeping, but I went and got your sister and,
Yeah, absolutely.
He just goes, "No problem." And that's how I personally try to live. Yes, you do want to take the moment to go, "Oh, thank you. No problem." That's, and keep walking. Yep. And that was an very early example of him doing that type of thing, which is very RDA anyway.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help. And then he goes on and gets in the elevator, and they show him walk over to the elevator, hit the button, girl walks by. And I thought, boy, they could have ended that. It's not a criticism. It's just a nice observation that they did. They could have ended the scene right there, but they show him go over, press the button, get into the elevator. It's a quiet moment. But I'm like, okay, I like it. It again, little quiet moments mean so much because he just all right. There's what MacGyver looks like waiting quietly for an elevator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gets off, goes in, knocks on the door into Banister's office, who's making out with his wife, his new wife.
Yep.
And because they're newlyweds. And I love the fact he goes, MacGyver, this is my wife, Ingrid. Well, I should hope so.
Yeah.
It's just that's because it would have been a stupid line if it wasn't addressed. I like that he calls it out and says, well, I certainly hope so. Hi, nice to meet you. And so he says, yeah, I'll go see our boss and try and stall him for a couple minutes. You get back to what you're doing. It smiles and leaves. And just the whole, okay, now this is the episode. Even though we saw it in the previous episode, this is the one where they're telling the audience Pete is now here to stay. Yeah. Pete is the boss. And he walks in and, shakes his hand. And my son said, he calls him Peter instead of Pete. And I said, yeah, but he's doing that to make a joke. Like I'm talking to you like you're an official boss, even though they're friends.
Absolutely. And this episode actually had a couple examples of this. Like you could almost kind of tell, he was doing it kind of like in a joking manner, but it's also on another level, he's being respectful because they're in his office at work, So it could have been like poking fun a little bit, but also in a way being respectful to him as well.
Right. Yeah, because MacGyver's not taken much seriously, and at the same time, letting I know that you're the boss, Mr. Big Shot. Exactly. Like you would tease your friend.
Exactly.
And it's nice, and he tells him about the I'm glad you're back because boy, you have earned some time up. Boy, Pete, am I glad to hear you say that.
Yeah,
and I love that, and this is very rare. They have done it a few times, and reasonably so, where MacGyver's saying no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving out of my apartment. I got a new place to go to. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you no. Right?
Yeah. And it's a genuine, it's not, I'm busy because I just need to rest and relax. No, I am dealing with something that is literally upheaving my entire living situation. This has to take my focus.
Right. Yeah. And reasonably so, but boy, is he's stubborn about it. Because Pete's like, Mac, listen, wait a minute. We got it, there's no one I can trust. You're the only one I can trust. Pete, find somebody else. And he doesn't even turn around. He just keeps walking out the door. And had it been anybody else, you'd go, boy, what a jerk. He's not even because that's the other thing that's a big dynamic between Pete and MacGyver.
Mm-hmm.
That Pete's even admitted he does take advantage of MacGyver a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And which, if it's your top guy and it's your best friend, that's the first person you would think about to handle any problem anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the only reason he's not on the payroll is because MacGyver doesn't want to be there every day.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the freedom. So
Absolutely.
He's saying no. And then Pete shows up at his apartment, which is full of boxes. And I love that he's wearing an old sweatshirt with a tear in it, which I buy. A lot of times they'll do this with actors or in a scene where, it's painting day. So now they're going to wear, and they should, obviously, if you're painting or doing construction or something, you're going to wear your quote unquote dirty clothes.
Yeah, you're going to wear stuff that if it gets ripped or torn or dirty, whatever, it's like.
But a lot of times you go, I don't believe this actor or actress owns anything like this. I don't see them hanging on to it because in every other scene they are sparkling and dazzling. But because MacGyver just lives his life and doesn't think about what he wears normally, he's going to hang on to that type of thing. And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete shows up to plead with them. And a couple little things that in the scene that I love. I love I would bring up a picture if I knew how to do that. I would love to. Hang on a second. Let me see. I know that there is a way to bring up, because I have it on my desk.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm going to see if I could bring up 2 seconds, because I was just about to mention the sword. Okay. See if this works. The sword, he pulls out a sword, which I'm like, that's cool. Hang on. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I am your friend, will be your friend forever and ever, that kind of thing. And he goes, he pretends like he's popping a balloon. I love that. Right. And they also zoom in so you know that there's a cap on the end of the sharp sword.
Yep.
It's a fencing sword.
Yep. And he's also prepping to move. So.
And I also love that he's a pack rat, and it's a thing that I've always connected with because I own swords, and I don't go around swinging them around, but it's still a cool thing to have. And it's nice to see that MacGyver has such a thing as well.
Absolutely.
And then he starts talking. He picks up this plastic spider thing. He goes, Pete, you have no right to. And the thing he's shaking, I recognize as, and anybody out there will, who, especially someone like TF is going to recognize this, talking about He-Man. That's a He-Man toy. That's a spider walking thing that Skeletor would ride on.
I was going to say, I forget the name of it, but I think it was Skeletor. Yep.
Spider-Tron or whatever they want.
Like that,
They
something 80s, something 80s sounding.
Well, something He-Man sounding.
Well, yeah, that too.
Another sound at the end of whatever it's called, and there's your name. And I remember that because you had to put batteries in it, and it would go ching, 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 and it was one of those He-Man toys. I'm like, I don't need to own that. That seems like they're just creating stuff that, now it's a spider. Oh, now it's a ram. Now, all right, got it. So, but to see MacGyver has one, I love that. Even then, I was like,
and he probably bought it because he's like, I want to know how I want to see how this thing works.
I just thought it was cool that it walked. Like that's and they were showing commercials for this still when that episode aired. So I'm like, He-Man, oh cool. All right, worlds colliding. That's great. And then comes in this actress who, and I'm not looking to pick on anybody, but I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name because the actress's name is very close to the character that she plays. It's Victoria.
Absolutely. MacGyver collecting toys is completely relatable. Absolutely, TF.
Yeah, very good. Right? He's one of us. So
as the two of us are sitting here surrounded by at least part of our collections.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm trying to add stuff in the background, not for my benefit, but for all the people that happen to stare at us doing these. I try to put some toys up and some things. I have the DeLorean, Funko Indie inside the Stargate. Yeah, so I'm always looking to add something because I don't want it to be boring for people.
Yeah, I see a small spot of wall space that I feel like you need something.
Here?
Yeah, just above the Stargate.
Well, look, I agree.
But the question is like, what?
Right.
Yeah. If I see something, I'll have to snag a photo and let you know.
Please. Because it can't be too big because now it's
limited space. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for noticing. And yes, help because that would be good. Anywho, so Victoria comes in and the actress's name is the same first name, but spelled differently. Victoria. Again, not picking on her, but I'm wondering, I don't have a problem with their acting. Her acting's fine. Here's what I've always had a problem with. She's supposed to be so attractive that people won't shut up about her. And also she's supposed to, be flirtatious with MacGyver. They don't look like they're the same age.
Yeah.
Right? And again, I'm not trying to badmouth the actress.
Yeah. It seems like an odd...
criticizing the casting.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it seems like an odd choice. Like, and she just kind of like, personally for me, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like you saw the conversation that Mac and Pete were having. You realize that this guy is in the midst of literally upheaving his entire life to move, and you're going to throw shade at him because he's not John Wayne. Well, John Wayne isn't John Wayne. It's like, come on now.
Right. She walks into the room, and her first thing is, Mr. Thornton, don't even bother. I have no interest in trying to force someone to do their duty. Get out of here. Look, you're in my apartment. Get out of here. And and MacGyver's even like, he gets introduced to her, and he's like, hi. Like, like, I don't like you. Your attitude sucks.
Like, all right, you just rubbed me the wrong way, lady.
Strike one. Strike one. And then even when I love the sarcasm when he goes, excuse me for a moment, won't you?
Yeah.
And then goes to talk to Pete and says, you can't put her in this situation. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete says, well, can you at least come to the party tonight?
Yeah.
Fine. And then she leaves and then comes back in to make the John Wayne comment.
Retort,
that'll make me do my thing. I have to be like John Wayne.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and one thing I did want to point out is this is one of the moments I think might be one of the rare moments where he actually called Pete Mr. Thornton at one point during the conversation, and I'm like, to me, that was MacGyver's way of saying, look, you're really frustrating me. You're my friend. Yes, you're also my part-time boss, but this is a line that you're crossing, and you need to respect
that.
it.
And I think he did it for her benefit too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing. We have mixed company here. We can't talk like buddies. Mr. Thornton. Do you see how I called the guy Mr.? So you should listen to him, maybe. You should. I feel like that's what he did too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it reminds me, I think Russians apparently love John Wayne because Yuri Dmitry did the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that also is a good way of showing, culturally, like what different, cultures find
John Wayne
significant for whatever reason,
Yeah, Mickey Mouse, John Wayne, there are certain American things that any country knows.
Just for whatever reason are iconic to that particular.
And it's so funny that like two people mention John Wayne on different MacGyver episodes to try and go, huh? That means manly, And so he goes, will you show up at least? I'll think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete's like, okay.
Yep.
That kind of means yes. I'm going to go before you change your mind, but
before I do something that's going to turn it into an L.
Yeah. And I love that he shows up to the party in a tux, and for nobody else's benefit but his own, he's cracking wise.
Mm-hmm.
He's making comments about the robot.
Yeah,
he
just amusing himself.
Yeah, he gives him a name.
Robert, I think.
He's going away. He goes, "You're losing weight, Robert."
Yep.
Like nobody hears that except him. I love because that's very RDA, which is the way I personally go. Yeah, it doesn't really matter if anybody's around. If this makes me laugh, I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I love that he gets teased.
Yeah,
and this is early on. This is still first season. They make sure that that he doesn't want to be James Bond. He doesn't want to be in a tux.
Yeah, and
he's like, not word one. I love that. I love the comment that Banister makes of him. This guy's idea of black tie is a dirty shoelace.
Yeah.
And then Ingrid gives him a compliment. He says, thank you. I needed that.
Yeah.
And then Pete shows up with the woman, Victoria, and they talk about, boy, he sure knows how to make an entrance. I'm trying to think, is it my personal taste? But I don't find her the least bit attractive. She's older. She looks like she looks like she could be MacGyver's older sister.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely like nothing against the actress's performance or anything. Like, to me, and a lot of people would think the actress that played Ingrid would have been like more like just jaw dropping. Sure. And part of me wonders if when they were doing casting for the episode, that might have been their original intention, and then realized, okay, well, we're going to have to flip some things around here so that we can just get production underway, you know?
Sure. It's possible. But yeah, they talk about how beautiful she is. And then she goes, oh, how goes the packing? And he says, it defeated me completely. Now, instead of just chuckling, she has to throw another shot in at him, which makes me hate her even more. You should learn not to be so defeated so easily. Lady, I'm supposed to be saving your life. Don't make it impossible. You know,
and this would have been the perfect opportunity for any show writer to easily just be like, fire right back at her. But nope.
He was
respectful. Yep, he was respectful.
Right? He just pick your moments. And okay. So then the priest comes up, and I always loved on MacGyver that they don't try to walk the line and we don't want to offend people who don't want to have religion in there. No, there have been many times where they have the person's faith be part of it. This is one of them. The other one is the Madonna. I always love the line where she's chasing the drunk out, where she's chasing the drunk Santa Claus out of the Challengers Club, and she says, "You are wearing the uniform of a saint." I'm like, yeah, right on. So this is when the priest is there and he acts like a priest. I pray, let's take a moment and pray, which is what priests do before you start something. You have a little prayer. And let's hope that this helps bring people together. And it's not. The other thing that MacGyver does beautifully, as we always say, is it doesn't preach. It doesn't go, time to stop everything like a CW and put him up on a pedestal.
Yeah, and it's not heavy-handed about anything either.
Right. That's who he is. We're all there. We all agree. All right, move on. And then he starts talking. And I love the little thing with when the interference on the microphone and the comment that he makes. Progress, but not perfection. That's a good joke.
And it's a great line too, because if you wait for perfection, you'll be waiting forever. But if you wait for progress.
So then he gets triggered to pull out the gun and start shooting. And they didn't really focus a lot on. They didn't show him point at her.
Right.
That comes about in conversation afterwards because it just looks like he just starts shooting.
Yeah.
Apparently he was shooting at her, Victoria. Right. And MacGyver runs over to the sound thing, cranks it up. I love that because the high sound breaking all the glasses along the way breaks the priest's glasses. He goes like this and they tackle him.
Yeah.
Great. And then he has a heart attack.
Again, it's that attention to detail.
Yeah, which I'm sure, the people doing the show, that's not an easy thing. We're going to have glasses explode on your face. Well, won't that get my chest? No, won't that get my eyes? We know what we're doing. Like, I'd be nervous if I'm that guy.
Oh, yeah. And I can tell you right now, it was probably like a glucose-based glass, which is what a lot of times they'll use if it's glass that's got a shatter, usually bottles and stuff like that.
Sure. It's like windshield. Windshields aren't supposed to explode when they break. They just spider web.
Yep.
So they tackle him, and the bad guy clicks a thing and gives him a heart attack. And I like that they tried to save him. But again, you don't know. You just figure he had a heart attack.
Yeah, they didn't realize what was going on, so they didn't. Mentally, they couldn't, to borrow a phrase that, we love, they couldn't MacGyver a solution at the time. They didn't know what they were dealing with.
Exactly. So it's a shame, but I love, and this is kind of an odd thing. They're the next day or whatever, they're walking through. Banister, Pete, MacGyver are walking through down the sidewalk to talk about. MacGyver goes, isn't it kind of odd? He has the world's most convenient heart attack after he tries to assassinate somebody, and it's a priest. There's nothing right about this. So we need to do a little more digging.
Yeah, something just is off.
And he goes to the coroner. Listen to me, coroner, and the coroner. I like him, but I'm glad they didn't make him a regular member either because he's quirky and he doesn't really care. He's just and away he went. Banister, like, do you have to make jokes? Meanwhile, he goes over and he's eating egg roll out of the tray. And then MacGyver asks for a sample, which is a big no-no. Because, Who redid your sound system? All right, fine. Take your sample.
Yeah.
And then on the way out, MacGyver goes over and takes a bit of the egg roll and leaves,
Just like,
which is kind of telling that he's not grossed out. He's not as crass as the coroner, but
yeah,
he also is like, okay, yeah, there he is. I've seen that. Okay. And then, hey, yeah, well, I like egg roll, and takes it and leaves.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little thing like that he walks that line. He's not crass.
It's the small moments. It absolutely is.
Yeah, he's not crass. He's, but also he's not a wilting flower either. Mm-hmm. Which I could see if they're trying to make him be vulnerable, they could have easily have gone, I don't know, like skip it, like be a real person.
Yeah.
So then I'm trying to think. So then they're talking about the mole, and he goes back, and she comes over. Now this is where Victoria starts to be flirtatious with him.
Yeah.
And talks about, the Chinese say that since you saved my life, you're responsible for me. And I like funny people, the Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
They also call their children ugly in fear of, their beautiful children ugly in fear of the gods, whatever. And he gives her a compliment. I'm like, very big of you, MacGyver, because this woman has taken every shot at you that she possibly could.
Absolutely, yeah.
And she's not as pretty as they're trying to make her out to be. Maybe for her age, but again, they don't match. She's not his age. It doesn't. I don't know why they decided to throw that dynamic in there.
Yeah, like I said, it's almost as if people were not in the roles that they were supposed to be in.
Right. And okay, so I'll give you a little compliment. Isn't that nice? And here I'll show you. And he figures out, okay, there's nylon. What the hey? This chemical, and it really is, what he says is scientifically accurate. Mm-hmm. You add an electric charge, it becomes nylon. And you watch it happen, which is really cool. TF says, MacGyver has the perfect middle ground. He doesn't like to do some stuff, but he tries to keep his composure. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Well, that's perfectly put.
So yeah, then you find out about that, and I think about that. Imagine that being in your heart.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
Right. And to see how quick it forms. And then you find out, now we're going to Banister and his wife getting ready for bed. And he's in his silky robe, and she's going to give him a massage. Guess what? Turns out Ingrid isn't the mole, or she is. She's pulling the strings.
Yeah, she's
Banister was the whole time.
Yep.
But he doesn't know it. So he's the victim, and basically she's the bad guy. So MacGyver goes back with Victoria to the place and plays her the tape. And there's little things that I like that they do where it doesn't like they start watching it again and she goes, it's there, but my head's like a brick. I can't figure this out. That's realistic, because we all do that almost on a basis of
absolutely.
I know what this is, it's right there, but I just and his way of talking it through, saying, all right, picture her in a different place, in a different uniform, you recognize her from something. Mm-hmm. And of course he creates the whole hypnotism thing with the ashtrays and everything, which is neat. And she goes, are you trying to hypnotize me? Which I would think that's what you're doing. You got a spinny thing, which is universal for, I'm going to hit.
Yeah.
He goes, no. Just trying to help you relax. Just watch this. I'm going to give you some word association, and she does the whole thing with the kiss me. Oh, okay. Well, no, kiss me.
Yeah.
He's got to give her a solid kiss.
An actual kiss, not just like a peck on the cheek. Yeah. Which I love that that's where he went first.
Well, of course. And even that, he's like, why? Do you want me to trust you? Yeah, well. And I understand the logic behind it. You've now shared an intimate moment with another human being. Mm-hmm. Subconsciously, your guard's going to be more down than before.
Yeah. And very well could have also been, depending on how he kissed her, did he try a move? that would be another way of establishing, okay, he didn't try to, whisk me off my feet or anything. It was a genuine kiss, but nothing beyond just that moment. So he didn't have the, tried to slip her tongue or cop a feel, whatever,
Which again, the whole thing feels
weird.
Yeah, it feels weird. And I know I'm speaking in today's world as opposed to what's supposed to be then, but it feels almost predatory on her part. Like
kind of.
You're trying to take advantage of a guy who's trying to help you. You want a little action from him. But perhaps if you kissed me, I would trust you more. Like, it's not going to happen, lady. Just, all right, here, there. You happy? Let's get back to trying to solve this.
Yeah.
So then they do the word association thing. And I like that. Moscow, cold. Okay. Pete, rescue, MacGyver. And she won't answer. Got it. You got the hots for him. Okay, move on. It's just, you go, let's look at it. Let's pretend she was someone that the world thought, ooh, pick any Hollywood actress that is known for her looks. And she's in that role. It still would feel creepy. Yeah. It would still feel a little, okay. And it really is a testament to how MacGyver is set apart from anybody else in movies and television.
Absolutely.
They let him be the classy guy without being the preachy guy. Mm-hmm. He is naturally I'm just trying to do what's right. And yes, at this moment, you're giving me all green light to do whatever I want. We can have that little cutaway moment. But that's not right. That's not who he is. That's not, and I can tell you that's not what the audience would have wanted anyway. But everybody else was doing that. Any other show, had they done that, the hero would have taken his 5 minutes or so to have a little time with her. But they don't do that with him, and I love it. And they also don't make a point to shine a spotlight on it. It's, let's move on. Mm-hmm. Nice try. And then she figures out, Ingrid is the bad guy. And meanwhile, boom, Ingrid shows up with Banister and a couple guys.
And some couple thugs. Guy. Yeah, a thug.
And has the gun. They all have guns on them. And I'm trying to think of what sets this in motion, though, because they're going to shoot both of them and try and frame MacGyver. And then don't worry, he'll take Pete will quit. And
because he'll be so distraught. And then
Banister can step in and take his role, and we'll control him from there. And as far as bad guy plots go, it's not a bad idea.
Oh yeah, no, it's a solid plan.
Right.
Except for the wild card in the room.
Right. And they start shooting, and I'm trying to think of what happened. Oh, MacGyver pushes the TV.
Yep. Shoves the TV at them.
I think Victoria goes after Ingrid.
Yes.
And what I love is that they do get the upper hand for a minute. This could have been over now. Boom, you're disarmed and knocked you out and knocked that guy out. The extra guy. He's knocked out. He goes to pick up the gun, and Banister has the gun. Drop the gun, Mac.
Yep.
And he's in mid pose, holding the gun.
And I like that he even held that pose. Like, you could tell he's just like
crap.
And it's that inner turmoil of, this is my friend. I know he's being manipulated, but I don't know how far that manipulation is going. So I'm going to just stop. Literally just stop.
Yeah. And then they're all right, we got to shoot him. And MacGyver says, this is not you. Mm-hmm. You know who I am. I'm your friend. And you could see him struggling with it, which is, again, realistic. Mm-hmm. He's conflicted because inside he does know it, but he's being manipulated. And the way the mind works, I got that. I like it. They didn't drag the scene out too much. It was just enough to go, he's not shooting me, you notice. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to him still, and I'm talking to him very calm. And he knows who I am. So now logic is clashing with what you've been programming him during your honeymoon. And he goes, look, it's not going to work, MacGyver. He's mine. Oh, yeah, lady, take a look. Well, now she panics and goes, fine, and hits the thing.
And just goes,
him a heart attack. Russian chick
just clocks her in the face with the pistol.
Which
I like that they actually took the moment to show her flip it and
wham,
you know,
hit it with the butt of the gun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that way it wasn't going to go off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and it also gives her purpose. Instead of having the hero be the hero all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of MacGyver is we can all be MacGyver to one degree or another. Do your part. And she does, because she knocks her out. Could have sat there and went, which I'm
could have just been like, bang, done. And she even in that moment, she chose the same path MacGyver would have.
Right. And I'm afraid that a lot of people, because I see it all the time, hesitate. Are you going to handle this or am I going to handle it? I don't know. No, she takes action and does it, which is inspiring to that degree. And then Banister's now having a heart attack, but MacGyver knows why.
Mm-hmm. So now he's better equipped for this situation.
Right. And I love that he pulls out the wires and connects it to the candlesticks and basically gives them the clear boom thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like how he's talking to him the entire time. You know, trying to just keep that brain activity going while he's.
But he's also yelling too, like he's scared, like he's all right. Hey, you know.
Yeah.
Come on, because it is.
Yeah, you can feel the urgency because of how he's saying what he's saying. He's like, no, I've got a couple shots at this, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, hey, and he's like, come on, zapping him. Has to do it a couple times, but then it clears up, and he's like, Mac, what are you doing? Like, all right, so now your brain is back to the way it should be, and you're not dead.
Yay!
and so that's basically the episode.
Mm-hmm.
What I wonder, and someday maybe I'll have someone from the show on who can tell me definitively, and I'm sure I can guess, but I wonder why they changed locations of his apartment. Because they knew ahead of time, which I love that they wrote it into a B plot or whatever, of showing him packing up. You never get to see that in most shows. You never get to see the transition. It's always, I'm in my new spot.
Yeah, the only other time you see his stuff relocated is thanks to freaking Jack, you know.
And Murdoch.
Yep. And Murdoch.
But
two people beyond his control.
Yeah. But like the whole idea of, you know, I wonder if they had a problem with the landlord or something, or the powers that be went, you know what? We got another location, which I think could work really well. You know, we'll put him above a hardware store and that kind of thing. Because season 2, I think it was season 2, that there's a rumored, I've read it. It's on MacGyver Online, I think, where they had a sheet that gave the synopsis for, if you're coming in as a MacGyver writer, this is what you need to know.
Okay.
And they talk about something that was not used, which I think would have been cool if they spent the appropriate amount of time. Basically, he was going to live upstairs. Where he lives is that new apartment upstairs. Like, you know, both apartments were on the second floor in the first and second season. And down below was going to be the hardware store. I think it was the hardware store. A store that was like a mom and pop.
Okay.
And MacGyver was going to be friendly with them. He would come and fix whatever they needed, you know, and they gave him a cut on the rent type of thing. But the people downstairs, the couple, were going to be part of the show. If anybody wants to go on MacGyver Online, check it out. It's interesting that when they were writing it up, that was probably what they intended. And then as the episodes went, we're like, I don't want to really shoehorn that into this.
It would have potentially fallen victim to making it a team show as well.
Right. However, remember his landlord during the first season, she's in like 2 or 3 episodes. And then, so now he's moving out. Whatever. So we never see her again. And I don't know, that was supposed to be like a flirtatious kind of thing that they were toying.
Yeah.
So second season, they're going into it going, all right, we'll build more people around him. I got that. And I love the idea of that. And I'm sure in MacGyver's life, that is what happened, but we never got to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How would you write them into a MacGyver episode and make it worth it?
Yeah.
It would have to be the quiet moments before or after the adventure.
Yeah, or situation where, you know, he has to pop back to his apartment for something and they just happen to cross paths or whatever, you know,
right.
At those quiet moments. Or even like the opening Gambit, where instead of it being him out on a mission, he's helping fix something, or, you know, they're returning something that, you know, he left the bar over.
Like, I
exactly, yeah.
I love it, but now why?
But yeah, then it's like, okay, where does that eventually lead to without it feeling forced or shoehorned in?
Mm-hmm. So I could see why it wasn't, but it's such a shame because you kind of do want to see him interact with more people. Oh. Hey, Warlock. All right. Thank you for showing up, buddy. The move to Vancouver for production cost reduction led to MacGyver's. No. He's talking about. No, that's
okay. I got you.
He's talking third season, and I know that was the houseboat.
Yeah.
Yeah, from third season to the thank you, Love Buckets. From third season to the end of the sixth season was Vancouver. But so that's why that happened. But they were still in LA during the second season. So I'm sure there's a story that I'm missing there of why they decided to move locations. Maybe it was that whole, he's going to have like the couple downstairs, and it makes sense to, you know what I mean? Maybe they thought we're going to move him over there to open that, and it just never happened.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, someday that'll be.
I'll add more details in the Discord. Thank you, Warlock.
All right, very cool. Thank you.
Warlock is responsible for great fan art for the audio and podcast series.
Okay, so this is the Warlock that's been doing this.
My buddy.
Awesome. Those are amazing. I love seeing Mac drop them, or you drop them when they're done. They're absolutely fantastic.
He's doing, because now that we're going to switch gears now to the audio series. Now that I'm able to put I'm up to 18 episodes on the audio series. I just did our Christmas one right before the holidays, everybody. So the MacGyver SG1 audio series episode, First Christmas, is out. Warlock has done amazing work. And I sent you, Nate, the New Year's one.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I bet I know who did this artwork.
Yeah. And it gets better and better. I mean, it's looking just like the hardest part. It's so funny. The hardest part is the hairstyles, because MacGyver has a specific
fundamentally different.
You can't do a big fro. It's not big 80s hair. It's even though it was 80s, 90s. It's a certain style that has to work.
And it's not the generic, you know.
Yeah. And Jack has to have the salt and pepper hair. Well, once that got fixed and the AI and art and everything had to adjust, it's been all just perfect. And the ideas that we're coming up with for what we're trying to do is put the older episodes on YouTube. That way people can actually people who don't have an app to listen to it on a normal podcast thing, if you have YouTube, well, now it's going to give you that chance there. So we have 2 episodes.
But you want to have a visual element attached to it.
Yeah. So he does these great, and it's the length of the YouTube page, you know, so it fills out the whole thing. And it's whatever the picture is that will encompass the idea of that episode and get people excited to go, what's going to happen in this one? So he's been doing that art and doing promo art. And also everybody else who has been wonderful to send me their MacGyver SG1 audio series art too. I love to showcase it. So anybody who is artistic, you want to throw it out there, you want to make it specific to an episode, please do. I'll gladly promote the crap out of you and share
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing we definitely do. We'll help promote people. You know,
that's the whole point of this.
You put good out, you get good back.
Exactly. So here we go. So he is essential. Oh, and he does his own too. He loves Quantum Leap. He does these great Quantum Leap ones where it looks just like Sam and Ben. Oh, good. And he just sent me something on our Discord. Again, people, we have a Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Go to our page. Warlock is wonderful enough to add information. Look at this. He's got great. I'm not going to take the time to read it now, but I love that he looked it up and posted it. That's the type of stuff that makes all this worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely. It's that shared love of something that's near and dear to all of us.
And he just added a new, looks almost like a, what are they, Playmates, like a Lego. For preschoolers. They're a little bigger. He just did one that's a MacGyver one, which looks fantastic. It's adorable. Anywho, so yeah, with the audio series, we're 18 episodes in on your podcast app with great art from wonderful people like Warlock and a
handful of others.
But the YouTube is now, I'm hoping, what I want to do is every month, I do it more, but I need people to subscribe, like, share, blah, 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 to make it worth it. I want to put the older episodes. We have 2 episodes on YouTube. So we have episode 1 and 2. I want to get 3 up. And then from there on, catch up. Put at least 1 out a month on YouTube. Mm-hmm. That way people have something to look forward to between these episodes. Because as much as I want to do, I'm trying to keep these going. But I have to hound guests to come on, or when we feel like doing one of these episode ones, we got to pick our moments. Plus the Never Gets Old one, and it's a lot of work. Anyway,
it's the multitude of work.
And in between, I got to write, perform, produce the new episodes of the audio series. Thank God I have people like Warlock who have decided to help, because it does lift the burden so much.
Oh, absolutely.
I used to have to draw because I wanted it to be original. I didn't want to just take a picture from either series, and I'd have to draw my own, which again now takes more time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's a very specific style. Whereas with other artists that come in, you get different tastes and different. Ooh, here's an idea, and I'm telling you, it inspires me beyond belief. I love it. I love the feedback from everybody. Oh, which again, on our what is it? Not Twitter. Twitter's great, but Facebook. Our Facebook group is growing leaps and bounds with people who are liking and responding.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you to all you sincere people. Now, there's people on there who are not, which I have to funnel before they are able to post something, because a lot of people are spamming you.
Yeah.
You noticed
that? I've noticed a number of groups have actually started to I think it's basically just post approval or something like that, where they submit the post, and then whoever is on duty as the admin or whatever, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're not being a snarky SOB, they're being genuine or whatever.
That's the other thing. I have to do that for 2 reasons. One, I don't want spam. I'm not going to sell your shoes or whatever, and I'll ban them. I'm telling everybody now, if you post crap on our page that is not MacGyver related, you're gone.
Yeah.
If it's not part of the community, if it's not done in good spirit, it's not getting posted, and you're banned from the site. I don't have time to do, give them another chance. You know what you're doing. Keep it friendly, keep it nice.
Yeah. Keep it subject matter related.
MacGyver. The whole spirit is community and joy. That's the whole point of doing it. The other thing is I will not post, and I made a public, I don't know if you saw it, I made a post as the admins.
Mm-hmm.
Do not come on there and tear down somebody's art. All these wonderful people are submitting their art in the MacGyver Stargate audio series spirit. It is not for you to go, I don't like it. It doesn't look like RDA. I didn't save it. You're not getting, I noticed this. You're not getting closer to RDA. You're not defending his honor. You are hurting people who are giving their art, expressing their soul to one degree or another.
Exactly.
Don't be an a-hole to people.
Yeah. If you don't like it, don't comment on it.
Move on. Don't comment on it. You're not helping anybody.
Yeah.
So I will not be allowing those type of posts anymore. Not that I did before, but I have it set where now I can catch it beforehand.
Mhm.
If you don't like somebody's art, move on. That's
Fair.
it. And
Great.
oh, by the way, feel free to send in your own art. I'll gladly post it. I am here to share your great stuff. That is the point of all of this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So hopefully, thanks to such great helpers, we will have the third episode up. Because I already have them. I already have obviously them all recorded.
I was going to say, you still have the audio saved, thankfully.
Sure. Well, yeah. So I have that. Plus, I just need the art to make it something shiny.
You want it to be relevant and not just like a generic-y background wall,
Right. And then, it's great for the eyes as well, the ears. There's other ideas that Warlock has, which I hope happen, to make it almost not a cartoon, but like every 30 seconds have the picture.
I think it's like I think it's like an animatic type thing.
Okay. So that way, if he's saying, MacGyver snuck around the corner and grabbed the guy, well, there's the picture of that happening. 30 seconds later, when the scene shifts, and it's great because I love that stuff. That keeps your attention. That keeps you. I can't wait to see what the next picture is.
Yeah, I think it's like a motion comic or something. Is something that's referred to as.
Exactly. It's without the motion. It's the ongoing, and I love that. That's going to be so great because I can just redo from episode 1. I could just throw in the slides and repost it, and that way it's not a stagnant picture. It'll be that constant change. But in the meantime, go to his Warlock Weirdo TV on Twitter. He posts great stuff. He's got, like I said, quantum leap stuff. He does like deep conversation stuff too that I love. So I always try to repost it, and it's always great to see. Like I said, the art looks just like Al and Sam and Ben and MacGyver and Jack, and I can't promote that enough. It's amazing. And I'm trying to think. I want to make sure I don't miss anything before we talk again.
I think you touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, sure, but
I don't want to say it touched on everything because inevitably one of us will text the other and like, forgot to mention this, forgot to mention that. But
well, anybody listening have anything you need to hear our 2 cents on before we try and wrap this up?
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, and I love this, is when we're getting these comments from people, it actually indicates where they're from. Like Paul had made his comment through Facebook.
Yep.
TF Cannon Fodder, pardon me, has been through YouTube, I believe, because I believe that's YouTube's little play button. And then Warlock through Twitter. I'm not calling it X. That is
neither am I. Yeah. It's like the guy's trying to make sure it fails. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. But I like that it actually indicates, okay, this is where our audience is coming from. And I like that. That's
all
nice
of this
touch.
through sound, what is it? StreamYard. So StreamYard is what
they've done a really good job for helping organize things.
Yeah, and it's been worth it so far.
Absolutely.
Yep, been using
YouTube.
Yep. I'm thrilled because I got this from Jay at Sidetrack. When he had me on, he goes, "No, don't worry, this thing is easy." And I said, "Okay." And he explained it, how cheap it is to use, and all the benefits. I'm like, "Oh, so it's the problem that I would always have with guests is if they're not aware of how to use one of the previous
Zoom, Skype,
all of those.
Facebook Messenger. I think we did once through.
You'd have to send them a link, and then they'd have to click on things. And some people aren't as
tech savvy,
computer savvy. And this is just click on the link and you're in.
Yeah. Really, the only thing that delayed me today was I think last time I didn't have the headset that I currently have, so I wanted to make sure that it was using that properly and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's almost as simple as literally just hitting a button.
Yeah. And I'm so glad because Zoom used to be during the pandemic. Zoom became popular, and then Zoom got so popular they decided, well, we're going to charge people out the butt.
Yep. Oh yeah, we'll let you. Well, it was such a weird length of time too. It wasn't like an hour. It was like 50 minutes or something like that.
40 minutes, 42
Something
minutes,
like
or
that.
something like that,
Yeah.
and we cut off. And you're like, come on. And I hate doing that to people. I hate, especially if you have a guest on that was hard to get. You're like, okay, I got to call you right back. This we could just, we're going on
2 hours and change.
2 hours, 9 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. We haven't had any interruption, and we're very thankful.
Oh, absolutely.
So, this seems to be working. Are you guys enjoying doing these live things? Because we do. And I love the instant chit chat between us and Warlock and TF. And
and I do appreciate that it's right there off to the side. So like if you're looking down at a note or whatever, I can keep an eye on that and immediately respond to.
That was very good. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me think. Okay. With the audio series, I have a couple episodes already written that I am waiting for a special person to contribute who says they will, but I've had them written 2 episodes ago. So I'm stuck waiting for that.
So you're kind of in a holding pattern.
I wrote these last 2 episodes waiting to get the stuff back from it. So I don't want to be in a holding pattern. I don't want to go, people they're waiting long enough for these turnaround episodes. So I don't want to do it more. So I wrote 2 others and it was Christmas time. So here's your Christmas episode.
There you go. It's
a 2-parter that they're going to be giving. It only takes them 5 minutes to do their voice.
Their bit.
So that's coming. But then besides that, I have a heck of an episode coming up, which I don't want to say too much about, except that get excited because things are going to, I can't really say much. Okay. Remember how I did an episode with Dead Zone? Because it made sense. There's a reason for something else to happen coming up.
Okay, so there'll be another one of those. It's like, okay, I see where he's going with this.
And I have the plot for many threads slowly paying off. If you notice in the previous one, there's a new organization that MacGyver found a card to.
Okay.
At the end of the one episode, I don't know if you're caught up.
I'm a little behind yet, just because.
When you listen, you let me know what you think. So you're probably at least 2 episodes behind.
I think it's only 2. I'm not super far behind.
Well,
I'm farther behind on a lot of other stuff, but
there's threads that are connected that are starting. Some pay off sooner, some are just starting. But it's not just wild and there's no plan. I have the next 5 episodes already planned out.
Very cool.
The next one that I write is going to make everybody really excited, I think, even if they weren't already. This is going to, someone like Warlock will understand what I mean too, because I think I've hinted to him. So, and also, is it still snowing where you are?
No, it was just slop last night after it started to go from snow to rain. So it's just cold and wet.
Yeah, I got a little
the
alert.
snow's still around, but
I got a little alert saying the temperature has just severely dropped on my screen. I'm like, okay. Well, the sun's going down, so that would do it.
Yeah. We had Jess had to go and shovel snow at work today, so she had to get up at 9. So.
And she works at the school, is that it?
Yep.
As I recall?
Yeah, she was only on for about 2 hours, so I mean they were able to do it relatively quick, her and her coworker.
Well, that's good.
I'm just glad I didn't end up getting called in last minute to work because,
who needs that?
Yeah.
Do you still walk to where you work?
I have only had to walk to work in the last 3 months, like 2 or 3 times. So
was just give you a ride or what?
Jess will give me a ride into work or pick me up depending on what time I work, and then my dad will pick me up or drop me off, or my brother. Somebody will usually play chauffeur.
Nice. All right. Wait, we got another comment before we go.
Yep.
Yes, understood. Thank you, Warlock. I love that he chimed in here.
Yeah, he picked up on what you were putting down. So.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, all right, we are going to let everybody go. We thank you for joining us either live now or listening later.
Yep.
Please contribute. That was the other thing. We have a lot of people on our Facebook, thousands who are liking pictures and stuff. Click on the links that we send.
Click on the link, throw a comment, let us know something that you like. Yeah. Heck, if there's like a certain episode you're really excited for us to wax on about, let us know. That way we know, what folks are excited to see or hear us yammer about.
But join, subscribe, share our YouTube page of episodes. Go to wherever you listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. We have the Forever Adventure Network that you can click on. We have the Patreon, which I try to post blogs on.
Yep.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much to make us happy.
Yeah. And we try to make it so that you can easily get from one thing that we do to another with relative ease. I would like to think, at least. Exactly. So click on this, like it, subscribe, all of that. It doesn't sound like it means much, but it helps with to know that people are out there and that we're not just talking to the wall. Absolutely.
So keep on keeping on. Be part of our community. We're happy to have you. Don't forget that Discord thing, which Nate knows much more about than I do.
Yeah, and I've gone in and tried to refine that and slim it down a heck of a lot better than what it was.
Yeah, you did good.
And if there's anything else that needs tweaked with that, it's an easy fix. Well, relatively speaking.
And before we go, another person, VIKIELLL. I'm not even gonna try and. This is her handle on Twitter.
Okay.
Vikel, sure, is part of our Discord. She has been doing amazing, great Sam and Jack pictures of them together using a combination of established shots of them mixed in with other things. And it looks like they're the scenes between the episodes or since the episodes that we would want to see.
Nice.
Whether it's them snuggling or kissing or him proposing to her. She does that. And she teased that she would probably do some of her fan art for the audio series too, which is very sweet.
There you go.
But by all means, check her stuff out. She's got great stuff. There's people on, where am I looking here? There's people on Twitter who do fanfic that's really good. What do they call it? Shipmas? Hashtag Shipmas, which is shipping during Christmas or that season. And it's all Sam and Jack. So, they're of like mind. I try to repost their stuff all the time. And I think that's everything. I think we
touched on everything. Yeah, absolutely.
And if we forgot something, remind us and we'll bring it up next time. I promise.
Yep.
But keep on keeping on. And remember,
stay creative.
There you go.
The MacGyver podcast is part of the Forever Adventure Network and made possible by donations to the Forever Adventure Network by Mac Jackson on Patreon. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever podcasts are heard. And follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember, stay creative, everyone. The Forever Adventure Network. Welcome to the adventure.